Well, well, okay. Do you want us to start right now?
For sure. Well, how are you doing first, man?
Oh, I was just going to ask you, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I'm happy that we could do this, man. You are like one of the best parts of this community, you know? So I'm glad I can talk to you about like, all this.
Wow. So thank you so much. But sir, this is about you. So if you guys didn't know, name is Lenval Laird, community manager at TRILLVO, and I am honored and blessed. Yes, I know I'm doing an interview here, but I am honored and blessed to be in the presence of who I believe is one of the most emerging, rising artists so far in the EDM community. Yes, I might be a shining light in the community, but sir, you are one that shines so much brighter. Mr. Ray Volpe, been in the scene ever since 2012. I was going to say a bit further back, but we don't talk about that because that was not that good. I understand. Let me not speak about that. But bottom line, this is a man who has blessed us with his talent ever since. I can name many works. And let me say the biggest one, the biggest highlight of the career. First time ever performing in Lost Lands. Absolutely incredible job. Dude, there's no other person who deserved to be on that stage than you. Let me ask this. I already asked how you right now, but when you were on that stage in Lost Lands, how did it feel to be there?
It was amazing. Honestly, it was the best weekend of my life. I wish you were able to be there. I know that you are like going on as many shows as you can. It was incredible. I don't think the energy that I felt personally up there compares to any show I've played, because it's something I've been wanting to do since the very beginning, since the very first Lost Lands, I think in 2017 or so. There's been, this was the fourth one. I think it should have been the fifth, but with the pandemic and stuff,
right.
One didn't happen. I was actually booked to play 2020. So I was very excited when I got the offer, and then obviously COVID happened. And then I was very, 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 very honored to be asked to return for 2021 and make that first appearance. It was the best time of my life. I couldn't tell you, like, if I said it was amazing, like, it's like such an understatement. You know what I mean?
It's an understatement, but I had a feeling that was already like set in stone. I mean, you were in Base Canyon, another festival pretty much owned by Excision, then moved on to Lost Lands, Couchlands, where I finally experienced you virtually live for the very first time on Subsidia stage. It was absolutely incredible. And then for it to be official, set in stone, Lost Lands 2021, like the stars were aligning for you and your work. And it's just more proof to show that what you're doing, what you're creating, everyone's noticing it, everyone's hearing it, and we are all just blessing you for it. And from someone like you, who I've heard a bit more of your story, who went through a pretty hard bullying phase, and I don't want to talk about this a little bit too much, but I have to mention it because I went through the same stuff as well. And needless to say, I've been verbally bullied a lot. I was like very alone, didn't really trust anybody. But it wasn't until the music of dubstep or rhythm, whatever those genres are, pretty much EDM in general, that pretty much saved me. It was like a musical friend that was there for me always. And needless to say, your music and listening to your songs was no exception. No. Oh, God damn it. No. Okay.
I think we're back.
Okay,
yeah,
we're back.
You went out for a second, but I caught a bit with what you were saying.
So I was saying that your music as well, when I was listening through it, definitely was there like a helping hand, like almost like a hand to hold and just a friend to be there. It was your music that really was absolutely incredible, and it really meant a whole lot more to me than just what people would say. It's just like noises from a laptop or noise from FL Studio or Ableton. Didn't matter. It was just something that was there and where I really need it the most. And I have nothing to say but just thank you for that and being there for me. Like when it came to songs like Outer World and Skull Island VP, Skull Island EP, and everything else, I just thank you so much for that. It was what really lured me to you and your music. So needless to say, just thank you for that.
Excuse me. Thank you for, like hearing it out and resonating with it. I'm glad I was able to help you. That is what it means. That means the most to me, because like you're saying, like there's a lot of other, there's songs out there and there's artists that just make songs and they want stuff that just, it's just like a banger, right? And it's just noises on laptops, and that's totally fine. Nothing wrong with that at all. Something I've always wanted was to capture emotion and have an outlet and an output of, my experiences or things that I feel or things I have felt or similar, situations in that realm. I wanted to put that out in the same format. And how do I do that? And what does that sound like? Excuse me. Yeah. So especially, it sucks that you went through this similar things I did. You were,
Right.
it's the worst thing. No one deserves it at all.
But the worst thing I feel like is that I was also bullied because of the music I was listening to. I was not afraid to say, people ask me what songs or music I listen to. I would show them like Monster Cat and stuff like that. And even a few of your songs, they would be like, what the heck is this? And like, I remember one time I was in the classroom, they put me in charge of the radio, and guess what I played? I played music that was like a blend of both dubstep and rhythm, so that, and everyone was like shunning me. They were like, someone please change this. And the teacher was like, I bless my teachers. They were defensive. They knew how I was, what I went through. So they were like, no, it's his time, leave him alone. They hated me in the lunchroom. I was all alone, but needless to say, I stood by it, because the reason why I got so enthralled in electronic dance music is because of one thing and one thing only. It was focused on just the music, just the melody, just letting the music speak for itself. And it spoke so much to me. Without that, I don't think it would show the person I am today. There's a type of feel and atmosphere and energy that flows through each song, each drop, each build up, each breakdown, that makes me feel like I'm not alone. It defined who I am as a person. And some of your music as well done that for me as well. Reason why I feel like my personal favorite work from you was, of course, No Emotion Allowed, was most definitely Programmed to Love. And it was that work that was like almost brought me down to tears. So maybe that's why they call you the sad dubstep boy, because I was crying a few tears here and there, but maybe that explains it.
I had a very similar experience to you with that, like with like metal and post-hardcore. Like growing up, I was listening to a lot of like screamo music, and I was like a little scene kid with band tees and stuff, and I was bullied over the music that I listened to and the way that I dressed. And I was also getting into a lot of EDM and dubstep at the time, like maybe early Skrillex stuff and Dirty Phonics, and this duo called the Trickas and stuff like that. So like I can heavily relate to a lot of that, just being like kind of shunned off from what I was listening to and what I enjoyed. And the funniest part though is that those same people are all like frat kids that go to raves. Like they all listen to it now. And it's so just interesting how that it just turned around on its head and how that worked out.
If I may throw a theory regarding to that, I feel it's because those people you see who were just like emerging, who were very small, no one really cared about what they were making. When they started growing, when finally people started noticing them and finally giving them a platform, the spotlight, telling them, we see you, we notice you, more people need to hear what you do and what you make, then those people who bullied you, who put you down, said that you would not make it, they're coming asking for free tickets. Like, hey, you know me from high school, right? So you want a ticket? I literally got
somebody. So there's people that have DM'd me. They're like, hey, I'm like a rapper now. Can you produce my beat? And it's just like, peace and love to them. It's just not. It's like some random sound rap, and it's like it's not great or something I can't work with or whatever. And it's like, you were awful to me. I'm not gonna like. This is not how this works. I get a lot of stuff like that. Or people that are like, oh man, like, remember we used to talk? It's like, you said 2 words to me. And they weren't nice, so it's weird. People, they're quick to claim not ownership, but kind of like, oh, I knew him before. Like, oh yeah, no, I knew him before he did this. They want that recognition, I think.
They want to try to have like a little bit of what you have, but here's the thing. They have not been through what you've been through. They have not worked over 10 years to try and create their craft and make what they make. Could they even have a chance to even stand on the Bass Canyon stage or stand on the Lost Land stage, or better yet, be brought into Webster Hall to perform? Hello? Dude.
Yeah.
So pretty much, it's not about them. It's really more about you. I just had to bring that up because EDM music was one of my biggest saviors. It saved my life. I don't know where I'll be without it. I don't know where I would be without some of your songs as well. Because also, I credit you and your music being part of me becoming better and me finally saying, this is who I am. This is what really speaks to my heart. And I have nothing but love, nothing but respect for you and your music and for saving me. So again, I always say thank you so much, Ray Volpe, for everything you've made so far in your career.
That truly means the world to me. I know, I think some people, it's like, how do you? I think I struggle to respond to something like that because it's just it's so amazing that I'm able to touch somebody and help somebody. So I might struggle in terms of how I react to it, but it means more than I'm happy that I'm so happy that I'm able to help you, and I'm happy that you're here today to even be here to talk to me right now, and we can talk. And I love seeing all your tweets, every video that you do for every artist that is in the scene. It's just it's wonderful. You're literally a light in the community, genuinely. There's a lot of false positivity and fake positivity that comes from the community. And I think that you are a very genuine person that you are literally just trying to spread love and awareness. And it's amazing.
Which is what I try to do every single time. No matter what I do or what I record, I want to make sure anything that I show and do is at least genuine. You can call it cringe. You can call me being too into it. My parents, sometimes I show them people what I did and they say that, you're looking crazy, right? Well, yeah, that's kind of the charm of it, because
absolutely
this type of music, if they saw me rocking out to, let's say, for example, World War Rave or Feeling This Way or Nosebleed, if they saw how I was reacting to it, they may not see it. They don't have to get it. It's something that flows through me. Whenever I react to a song or listen to a song, any type of song, pretty much, I listen to it and try to let the emotion, let the feeling flow through me. Whatever my body does, it's what it does, and I don't care. It's pretty much, it's kind of like being a puppet master, where it's I'm just the guy who's just limp like this, and each melody, each tune is like a string pulling each one, and it's controlling everything that I do. So it's like that. I let it take control until it ends, and that's pretty much all there is to it.
Great. That's what's gotten you the attention from so many artists. That's why so many artists follow you and know who you are. Everyone knows who Lenval is, because everyone's like, yeah, Lenval has the most energy, the most passion, absolutely going hard as hell. And I think that is absolutely part of the charm of it. And you're just going for it, and you're not
afraid to show it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because a lot of people are afraid to be who will I really put this on? I was like, yes, if something you love and someone means so much to you, express it. Show your love for them. It's not hurting them. It's not hurting you. It's just showing that thank you so much for this music you made, and just let it flow through you. I mean, you do all the time in festivals. You can do the same thing in your own room. I'm in my own room right now. Hello, doing this.
Exactly.
So speaking of all that talk about the music, let's dive a bit deeper into it, which is kind of what I love to do. So first off is this. It's something I speak a lot about certain artists and how they're always put in a box where it's for you consider yourself the sad dubstep boy. First off, let me ask this: where that whole sad dubstep boy thing came to be?
I actually don't know. I don't know who coined it or anything. I don't know if it was me or if it was one of my friends or my former management at the time. I don't know how it kind of started, but I think it was just I always, because I think it was after I wrote the Bipolar EP in 2016. That's the first time that I properly sang and was talking about it, right? That was with Bipolar. And then the Reality EP that followed up into 2017, that was all me singing, right? So, and the lyrics are all sad. And I think that's a big kind of part of the whole sad dubstep boy thing. I think something that I think about, and something I've talked about with my girlfriend and with my manager, is just it's the lyrics are way more sad and complex than any normal kind of EDM song. A lot of them are either about really simple stuff or living for the night, or, you know, they're partying, or even if it is about love or relationships, it's not like my lyrics are like kind of low key depressing, but I think that resonates and relates to a lot more people in like this niche kind of area, because I think it's like people that can just like actually it hits them harder, and it hits them like, they're like, oh shit, I dealt with that like a couple months ago, you know?
Right.
Like,
So are you trying to like blend almost with your lyrics or with your lyricism, and like, yeah, it's simple, but are you trying to like maybe take a bit of like Millennium type-esque lyrics into your music? Because you can say he also worked on trying to do the same thing too, where you listen to songs like, let's say, Every Piece of Me, Takeaway, Crashing, Take You Down. It's all mostly depressing, about love, about heartbreak, but it's like,
exactly,
let's like take a little bit of that and put it into like even heavier dubstep and like make something out of that. So I can see where the sadness comes from, and it makes sense. But is that like, you can say, is he like one of your inspirations to like doing that?
I feel like he's become more of an inspiration recently than in the beginning, just because I think in the beginning I really liked, I was really looking up to, it was like Skrillex, Zomboy, Big Chocolate, and Seven Lions. So Seven Lions was like the only melodic act that had top lines and vocals that were like that weren't just like random, because like all the Zomboy top lines were random, like vocals like were just kind of random pre-drops. The Skrillex ones were random pre-drops. So
and Seven Lions had like Rush Over Me and Calling You Home.
Yeah, and like those are perfect examples. Yeah, and so I think that I was listening to a lot of his music, and that was kind of really inspiring me to want to start introducing vocals. And I think what happened too was like I was struggling to find vocalists that I was happy with, because I had felt that a lot of the vocalists at the time, when like in 2016 or so, most vocalists or top liners, whatever you want, you know, like refer to them as songwriters, etc.
We call them vocalists.
Yeah, they were way out of reach for me, of like my size. So I was like, okay, well, I can't afford, because on the back end of things, like there's so many like things that go into it. Like there's a fee that you have to pay them, and then they get a split. The split's fine, but at the time I was broke. I wasn't making any money. And these vocalists, they you know, for their work, which is, you know, absolutely valid, I just didn't have the money at the time. It was like $3,000, $4,000, you know, maybe for the fee. And it's like, okay, I can't afford that. So how am I supposed to, you know, figure this out? And I can work with a vocalist that maybe was cheaper, but I was like, I really want the work to be a certain standard. I want it to be really good, because it's like, I'd rather have a song with either no vocal or a song with a really good vocal. I don't think it should be a bad one by any means. So I got to a point where I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna start just trying to figure out what I want to write about, and I'm gonna sing myself. And it was just like, I was bullied a lot. I was always sad, you know, and I was like, all right, let me just start like putting in these experiences or things that kind of felt like they could be experiences I was having. Not everything I write has 100% happened. It's a mix of both. So it's just like, all right, let me just channel these things and see what I can come up with. And then everything ended up being really sad, and none of it really ended up being too happy. So I guess Sad Dubstep Boy just ended up forming out of that.
Right. And is that the reason why, let's say, like for one of your songs, like Feeling This Way, I remember in your Instagram post, you mentioned like you need like a vocalist for that, if I'm not mistaken. And it's like
another version of it, actually. Yeah. So the Feeling This Way is two different songs that became one thing. The melodic drop, the first drop, used to be a remix for Marshmello and A Day to Remember. That never ended up.
Oh,
yeah,
really? Because I'll be honest, because the way how the first one sounded, I was thinking a bit of Marshmello, because a part of me was almost like, I was like humming like When I Found You. Oh no, I'm thinking Rescue Me, not A Day to Remember. I'm sorry, but it's almost had that same type of feeling.
Yeah, I had an opportunity to do that remix a while ago. And I think when the pandemic hit, they had scrapped plans to do a pack. So I was like, all right, no worries. I'm going to take this, run with it as an original. I didn't have any parts of the original in it at that point. So it was only the vocal that I had used. And then, excuse me, I had I had this like Love Is Gone ID that was not, it was just a heavy dubstep track that use the Love Is Gone by Slander vocal. And I had to figure out what to do with that too. That had a whole new intro, and I was ready to write a vocal for it or find a vocalist for it, and I couldn't find anything for either track. Feeling This Way was in a different key. It was higher. It was a lot high, like the note was like 6 notes higher, so it was a higher pitched, more up, more kind of feel good vibe actually. And then I was like, ooh, what I like to do, I call this Frankensteining. I like to take a lot of my whips, my work in progresses, and I will combine them to try to make something new. So I did that with this. I was like, okay, let's take this Love Is Gone ID, this random song. Let's take the Feeling This, the Rescue Me original version or whatever. Let's combine them. So I took the Rescue Me thing, I dropped the key down, made it a lower key. And the crazy thing about when you change keys of songs, they completely change the emotion sometimes. It was originally in like G sharp. Now it's in E flat. When you go down that much, it made it's so much sadder and darker. And it's super cool because I was like, oh, this is awesome. This actually flows really nicely into the Love Is Gone ID. So I was like, okay, let me just go ahead and now figure out what am I going to do here? Am I going to find a vocalist? You know, and that's why I made that Instagram post that you're referencing. I had the original that was the Rescue Me version basically without the vocal. I was like, I need a vocalist. There were a lot of good options in there. And I think that's actually how I ended up working with fucking Sid on Insane later on. But I didn't know what I wanted for that. And then I actually wrote the Feeling This Way vocal, I think maybe 1 or 2 weeks before I submitted it to Subsidia for it to be like delivered to the streaming platforms. It was really, really late in the game that I finished that song. I wrote the vocal very last minute. And yeah, it came together really, really, really quickly at the end there.
But it still paid off, even though it was sent last minute. I mean, without that, I don't think every single song I feel like in an EP is like without it, I don't think it would still capture the same thing. So I feel like if that EP didn't have Feeling This Way, if it didn't have Nosebleed, if it didn't have Tell Me, if it didn't have Inside Mind Games Part 3 or the introduction, I don't think it would be like a complete package. So I appreciate that you sent it last minute for Feeling This Way. It was still a single, but then it turned to an EP. I appreciate that because it is still an amazing song. And of course, it was, even though it was birthed by a Rescue Me type flip or a remix, still you gave it your Ray Volpe type flavor to it, and we got Feeling This Way. And I cannot thank you enough for that amazing song. But
it's my favorite to play now because everyone like the pre-drop has become
the whole where the F's the heavy drop. You now it's like I feel like there's like a Ray Volpe staple right there.
Yeah, it's really cool. I've always dreamt of that. Like when you're a producer and you're like starting out and then you're growing, I think the thing that everyone, because like you play out music at shows, right? So like when I play the Behemoth Swing thing, right, which I used to play out,
right, I remember.
Like that's cool and it's fun, but it's not my song and the vocal is not mine either. Like it's sudden death, it's savage, and like the mashup was made by Control Freak. It's like I own no part of this. So the coolest thing that is you want crowds to sing along or chant along to your stuff. And I Feeling This Way was like the first little taste of that I got, was like people screaming, where the F's the heavy drop. And it was right after because I made the song during the pandemic and it came out right during the pandemic. So these first shows back, like I heard people chanting it. I'm like, whoa, this is cool.
It's a pretty euphoric feeling.
Absolutely. And it's actually starting to happen with other songs now too. Like Elastic, people are chanting like the ba 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 ba, like, you know,
like, I remember.
It's like it's genuinely like the most, like, it's like the best feeling that like
I feel like I would try this. Same thing with Feeling This Way with where the F's the heavy drop. I wonder if you like muted it right after the first drop and was this non-justified and then scream that out. That would be pretty cool too.
I'm hearing some people yell it, so I'm hoping that continues.
Because I'll always be screaming at every time the "you have taken the lock," and then it goes that part. And of course the take back control. Every like single little vocal you add in there, you're gonna remember it. And of course, like one of the tweets you made, like all the certain songs that you Shakespeareanized, I still remember each one. Get it? Like Receive It Hot and Watch Those Bodies Drop It. Grow Step on My Own Market. Those are parts we still remember, because especially for Battle of the Bros, because who wants to scream like, no, Bro Step on my mark, or Unleash the Brittan, or all right, let's do it together. like those parts, I bet they can all scream it, and it has that type of feeling to it. I'm glad Feeling This Way is getting that treatment, but there are so many others I remember, and I'd be like, it can also work have the same feeling live on stage.
Yeah.
But we got a bit sidetracked there, because I was talking about versatility at first. So this is the one thing I want to mention. So it went to the whole tangent there, which I do appreciate. But speaking of versatility, this is one thing I want to mention. Speaking of World War Rave, and I think you spoke of mixed feelings as well, so also connects there, is when you decided you were sad dubstep boy, but then decided to do a little bit of house. And I think the songs like Tell Me and World War Wave, I'm curious to know, like, did you really think you wanted to do a bit of house there? Was it like something like, let me just try house just for the heck of it and see what happens? Or was it like, you know what, I don't want to be the dubstep boy the whole time, let me do something different?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both, because I feel like I've never only made dubstep originally. I've done a lot of trap and like hybrid stuff and some future based stuff as well throughout my career, and melodic dubstep and stuff. So I was always like, I'm not gonna be that guy that's like, I'm not a dubstep artist, because like, come on, like the majority of my catalog is dubstep, so I'm not gonna act like an asshole about it. But I like making everything. I've always have, and I think that's like, I don't know if I'm necessarily even like steering away from like the sad dubstep boy name or anything, because I think it's really nice and I like it. But I was so Tell Me came first, right? And Tell Me is like the second ever like song that's at 130 BPM that has like it's like a house thing I ever made, as Ray Volpe. At least I did one other one, a remix a long time ago that was like electro or something like that. But so this is like the first like real one since knowing what I'm doing and making music and being like experienced, that I was like, okay, let me try something, because it was trap. Tell Me was trap. It was that, like, it was the vocal chop and super fast paced stuff. It was a halftime beat. It was like boom, and it was like a little headbanging. And my girlfriend Jess, who is heavily involved with my projects, like she does like she works at a label, and so she does. Yeah, she works at Dimmock and does marketing.
She's amazing work. Shout out Jess Peeps. She's absolutely amazing. And 2 years in your relationship, you both are absolutely amazing. I had to give a shout out to her because she's incredible. I love you, Jess Peeps. You hear me? I love you.
She's literally the most amazing person on the entire planet, and she helps me with my project a lot. She helps me a lot with like content ideas, and also on the music end, if something's not hitting, she's the first to jump in and tell me. And so she was like, with Tell Me, she was like, it's too repetitive and like something needs to change. And there was, because at first the first like part of the drop just kept repeating. And so I remember one day she was just taking a nap and I was just sitting next to her on my laptop working on it, and I was like, because I've always loved house, and I've always loved bass house, G house, tech house, all types of house. Always loved it. So I was like, let me just like make this beat like 4 on the floor and then like add a clap and like see if it changes the vibe. And then it suddenly was like way bouncier. And I was like, okay, cool. I like that. And then I from there was like, all right, let me add like this little low like kind of buzz bass. It's like dun 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. And I was like, oh, that like really gave it some groove. And I was like, all right, well, this is like a housey bass house track now. I was like, cool, let's keep that as is. And when she woke up and she heard it, she's like, you're making house? And she liked it a lot, and I liked it a lot more now. And we were able to, continue on with the with that song, and I put it on Mixed Feelings. And then World War Rave. So for that World War Rave on.
So for that one. So that one, I feel like that was like where I asked the question, like, if you really want to do house, because I heard this sample in there, which was, you can't mix dubstep with house. It'll start a war. So it's like, really? So if that's the case, if World War Rave is combining both dubstep and house and bringing it together, you nailed it with this one, because that's one of my absolute favorites from the Rise of the Volpetron EP from the Disciple.
Thank you. I love that song. So I had made 4 tracks for that EP, and one of them was like very, I'm talking within I had the deadline was like July, or it was like July 8th or something was the deadline to submit it to Disciple so we can send it to Spotify and all that stuff, right? You want to send it in like a month in advance. It's the same week. The third track on the EP I had to remove because I was going to repurpose it for something else that I can't talk about necessarily right now. But when that happened, I was like, shit, I need another track. I don't want to release a 3-track EP. I also don't want to delay the EP coming out any later than August. So I remember I was trying to figure out what to do, and Jess, again, shout out, she was like, why don't you just try make another house track? And I was like, okay, I'll try it. And then within like 2 days, I made World War Rave. I recorded that vocal in the very beginning is just me. I literally just went, it was actually not even on my good mic here. It was on my phone. I was just like, you can't mix dubstep with house. It'll start a war. And so because I found the vocal sample. It's like a rap sample where it says, I'm the first and the last.
It was competitor. I knew it. I knew it was competitor. Yeah. I was serious. Everyone was like, what is he saying? But I knew it sounded like I'm the first and last competitor, which was repeated over and over again. But the way how it flowed with the ding, 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 it actually flows really well with it with each layering.
It works so well, right? It's like a random vocal I found on Splice, and I was like, this is awesome. And the whole kind of, I guess, like I'm really not cocky, but the vocal is supposed to come off cocky, where it's kind of like, I'm the first and the last competitor. I can make the dubstep songs, I can make the house songs, and I'm gonna excel in both. It's supposed to kind of
combine the two in one.
Yeah, it's like
was it combining both in one, or was it just pure house?
It's supposed to be pure house, but I guess there's like that in that second drop, there's like that.
It felt like you were combining both of them once after the like this, and it went. It felt like it was a bit of dubstep mixed in with it.
It starts to mesh it a bit,
right.
Which is like it worked out really, really well. So I was like, the first drop, I was like just completely pure, like just like high pitched squeaky house stuff, and it was really fun. And then the second drop I actually made first. I was like, it was just the energy was just crazy. I was like, it's too much. The other drop I made felt like it was not as high in as energy. So I was like, that could be the second drop, so it can continue to build. So, and then making that second part like halftime where it slows down with the drums, that was like super last minute, which helps bring that dubstep element back in. And I think that's when I decided to call it World War Rave. Because I thought it was like the coolest name ever.
Right, but also the whole like premise or atmosphere of the whole EP was like a rising. We had revolution, we had World War Rave, a race against time. It felt like it was like a war. It felt like it was like end of the world, and it's like only like a certain type of music can save the day. It felt like that.
Yep. I really like having my EPs have some type of theme, whether it's throughout the sound or just the track list, anything. Like I just really like to have some type of cohesive story being told. It doesn't have to be throughout each song's lyrics. It can literally just be the track list names, anything. Right. But with like Rise of the Volpetron, I feel like the themes of the songs, I think that the style of the songs, I think that the names of the songs, everything about it, each piece of that puzzle, it tells a whole story of the rise of the Volpetron. Because I think that I had a pretty low mental point in 2019. And I also felt like even just like with my career, I wasn't making the best decisions to grow. And I felt like I wasn't doing the right decision, like I just felt like I wasn't going anywhere. I felt like things were not going well. And one thing I will say is that throughout the pandemic is that I think that I was working really hard. And I think that a lot of stuff changed and kind of I grew a lot during that time. I think some people took that time as a break. I think some people took that time to work, and I used that time to work. And not to say that anyone doesn't deserve a break, by the way, not at all. I'm saying like I was able to work through it, so I wanted to. I feel very fortunate for that. And I used that time to just try to make some stuff out of it. And I ended up getting like the Excision remix with Wooly and Trivecta. I got the Millennium remix, and I did the first Disciple EP. And like the things were just kind of lining up and happening, and I was like, all right. So then going into 2021, we had a lot of cool things lined up. I knew I was going to do Lost Lands. I knew I was going to do Bass Canyon. I knew we were going to do some more merch stuff. I knew that we were going to do like all these other things. I was like, this is like, this is the rise of the Volpetron, and Volpetron's like, I guess like if Sad Dubstep Boys ending, it's like more Volpetron that's taking over, like the whole character of the robot and stuff like that. So, it was just like, this is just kind of like my story of my growth, and this is me kind of saying, hey, I'm here. And it's happening, you know?
Wow. So I really appreciate that story. It's really amazing. And again, I'm glad that even though through the pandemic, you still found ways to like still work on your craft. But hello, I feel like 2019, 2020 was kind of like where more people were starting to really see the power of Ray Volpe. I mean, it began, with Excision, it began with like your remix of Welcome it was the one with Diamond Eyes. I can't remember the name.
Welcome to the Real World.
Welcome to the Real World. It started off with that and being part of the album, The Mix of Excision 2015, 2016, and then grew into you doing a remix for Excision and Wooly Evolution, which was one of the biggest, a pretty big dubstep EP already. We had like Lockdown, we had with another song with Sam King, and then of course Oxygen with Wooly Trifecta and him. And that remix of it was absolutely incredible. But then I feel like what really blew you over the water, more with the water, was of course the remix of Nightlights. I mean, hello, this like building up to like the Fallen Embers album, and that was a part of it. Yeah. And first started with Nightlights, and then it went to, and dude, that freaking remix of Nightlights is one I can never, ever, 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 ever get enough of. I mean, everyone else was like, they're all good. They're all really good. Yoltron was amazing. Fabian is amazing. But dude, when I heard the little snippet of it, I was like, I'm done. He wins. He wins. Elenium, I'm so glad you noticed him at last. It says, thank you so much. This better be on volume 2 or I'm going to riot. And I'm so glad it was there. So thank you so much, Nick Miller.
Really well. It worked out really well. I had heard the original. And like I'll be completely transparent. Like Eleni and I have followed each other for years on Twitter, but we had never talked.
Thank you, Elenium.
Shout out to Elenium. We had never spoken to each other, but we had followed each other, so we had like some type of mutual respect of each other online and stuff like that. Like we, and that was really cool. And he dropped Nightlight, which I guess ended up being the first single from this album, which is really cool.
Very first single.
I was like, oh, I love this. Like the vocal is amazing. Really enjoy it. It was like over the weekend. I was like, I'm just gonna flip it for fun. So I just made a whole remix from scratch. I used there's a program that you can like rip vocals from. So I ripped the vocal and I made my own acapella out of it, and I made the remix. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna tweet a clip just for fun. Why not? Just want to show people. Hey, like, yo, I made this in a couple days because I thought the original was so good. And then when he replied, he was like, this is sick. I'll send you stems. He DM'd me the stems, and it just went from there. And it was really cool. And now since then, like, he's been supporting a lot of my other stuff, which has been really, really awesome. That was a really, really cool moment in my career to be able to kind of have like because I guess they call it bootleg remixes, unofficial remixes, and to have a bootleg turned official. That was like that's like one of the coolest moments ever in my career, I feel like.
That's like, again, I see as like yet another moment in your career as like, this guy is doing such incredible stuff right here. For it to be turned to bootleg, turned official, that's kind of, I was gonna say it was kind of rare. I don't know if that is rare, but
I would say it's maybe not rare. I would say uncommon. Like if rare is like down here, I would say it's like one step up. It's definitely uncommon. It doesn't happen every day for sure.
Doesn't happen every day, but still uncommon. Still, either way.
That's amazing. The chance against me, it happened. That was awesome.
Right. So still the achievement is there. And again, it's still the career is still growing from there, because the rise of the Volpetron has, in my eyes, has only just begun. I mean, hello, we have 2 more upcoming collabs coming from Adventure Club, who we all know as like EDM legend thanks to their remixes, and of course like Youth and Crave. And then of course, oh my God, I get shivers just thinking about this. Ray Volpe with Marshmello.
Yeah.
Ray Volpe with Marshmello. What the frick? Oh my God. So I already knew, thanks to your YouTube channel, he was already following you. So it's like, wait, there's something possible is going to happen with them. And there it was in Lollapalooza. I was almost crying happy tears, like, yes. The boy's back in.
That I'm very, 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 very hyped about that. We have to finish it still. That one was fun. It came together in a really cool way too. I've known him for a long time, maybe since
and did this whole thing pretty much begin because of your remix with Ray Volpe that song with him and Ray Volpe, if I'm not mistaken. Because that was about a few years.
Ritual song, yeah. So
right.
So yeah, I guess it kind of stems back to that. I met him in person rather than online. We had followed each other online, and he I think like he was playing out maybe Outer World or something, and then I met him at Escape in 2017, and we met up and we were talking at the festival and stuff, and we got along really well. And then we were just kind of like keep in touch over just like me just sending songs, basically like, hey, here's something new. And then I don't know if it was him that asked me or if it was Ausla at the time that asked me. Someone asked me to do the remix for Ritual. I was like, oh, absolutely, I'll do it. So I did the remix, and then I had a bit of bad luck at that point in time because that remix got scrapped. The pack got scrapped as well. So I was like, damn, like we're not gonna do it. That sucks. But this was already after he was playing it out, and he even had like a post promoting it. I was promoting it. So Ausla was like, okay, let's put it out for free on your SoundCloud. And then like Mello tweeted it out and he was supporting it and stuff like that, which was really cool. And that remix was huge for me at that point in time. It was really big. It's got over like 1 million on SoundCloud. It did really well. And I was really hyped about it. And I guess that stemmed to like me like getting other opportunities since then to do a couple like remixes here and there, or like try to see if something can happen. And then just like, background label stuff and stuff that doesn't work out with like remixes and stuff happens. And then I had sent him, I DM'd him on Twitter like maybe a couple weeks before Lollapalooza. I was like, hey, like here's a couple songs that I'm working on stuff for play out or like whatever. And one was like a whip, and he was like, dude, this one's sick, like let's work on it. I was like, cool. So went over, we started working on it, and then he opened it with that Lala, which was crazy.
So again, I feel like it's always about like, even though it feels like something is not really going to work out, or at least put it out anyway, at least put it out there for really hear it, because you never know what type of connections or what type of things doors could open up for you. I mean, that remix with Ray Volpe, with Marshmello and Ray Volpe, was amazing, and it brought you to this point here. A song with both of you, a collaboration with Marshmello. That's pretty big. So can you say that also something like that is also led you to like other remixes as well? Like, let's say like Get It All with Good Times Ahead with you and Getter, and of course Rip and Drip, Getter, Ray Volpe, and of course my personal favorite, the Dollars remix with Crank That. Ray Volpe,
yeah, so I think the Getter one specifically came from my friendship with him, with Getter specifically, because I think the Getter collab came before the Marshmello remix. I think we started working on it. We started working on it before, at least, because we started working on it in 2016. It might have came out early 2017. That was a situation of, I think, like, if I remember correctly, he had a tour day off, and GTA asked me to do a remix for that same song, and he was doing it for that song, and he was just like, yo, should we just do this together? And I was like, yeah, sure. So like, because I was hanging out on his tour bus that day, he had off on this tour, and he was in Charlotte, so he sent me the project, and we started working on it right then and there. That was really fun. But I think that like that remix and doing the remix of Rip and Dip and the Marshmello remix also led me to doing like the DJ Snake a different way remix, and also the Sick Boy Chainsmokers remix. Those the Getter and Marshmello remixes absolutely led me to do those, which both of those actually were both just like ended up being, I consider them all like halfway official, where it's like stuff with the label didn't end up working out, but they let me put it out, and like the original artists were supporting it. So that's what happened with the DJ Snake one and the Chainsmokers one. So it led to those, and all those songs, all those remixes did really well. Crank That, I don't remember how that came about. But I remember that like Crank That and I, we've been friends for a long time, and he wanted to work on something, and he was like, oh, I wanted to like, he wanted to remix his own song. And I think I remember correctly, he had made a similar third final melodic drop, and he was like, that was like kind of happy hardcore-ish, and he was like, or like hard dance or whatever, and he was like, I want Gammer to do this part. So I think that like we had reached out to Gammer to be like, yo, can you like do this in your own way? And he's like, yeah. So it was kind of a situation like, think of like a movie where like they write a role for somebody in a movie with like the idea of it being Samuel L. Jackson, and then they actually end up getting Samuel L. Jackson. That's what it was. It was like Craig that had written a similar idea for Gammer, like someone that was Gammer-esque, and then Gammer was able to do it. So it was like really cool that ended up happening.
That is amazing. I'm surprised you mentioned this before in one of your interviews, the one remix that really helped you out dramatically, and that was, we got to shout out Dirt Monkey and Jansen for like at least like really kickstarting off like you playing live.
They kickstarted everything. They were the first 2 artists to ever like address me that were like they had any relevance and popularity. It was Dirt Monkey and Jansen and they started their label Kairos, and I did that Lion EP. That Lion EP is what
Lion EP with the remixes. I still that's like one I still remember till this day.
It's so funny because I was talking to Wooly about it recently, because before Wooly was a DJ, he was just like a fan of EDM, and he used to like listen to Lion. And like, it's just crazy to go far that back. And I remember because I met him a year after I made Lion, because he was friends with Dirt Monkey and Jansen. Like, he knew them. So I had met him like a year later in 2015, like maybe 2 or 3 years before the Wooly project started. So it's just that EP actually led to that. Like, it's like, it all started, I would say like if we had like the trajectory of it, it was like Dirt Monkey and Jansen, and then Excision, which was like him playing out the Real World remix, which led to me doing something on Rotten Records at the time. And then that led to eventually me linking up with Getter, and I had joined my first management team. And then like
Civil, gosh, Civil. Am I saying am I saying it properly? Am I saying it properly? How I say it again? Anyway, say it again. I'm sorry.
Slay all. It's like slay.
Slay all. Oh, it's slay all.
Slay all. Yeah.
Okay, I want to make sure
is what it was. Yeah.
I'll make sure I say it properly, because again, that's like another group that like really helped you as well with your career. And I feel like
it was a family for sure back then.
And also I feel like without them, would they really have like felt like, well, first let me ask this, because when you discovered them, when you discovered Clint, and they were saying like, we really support your work, we want to like really help you out with the management. Of course, you want to be independent. You didn't want to really do it at first, but you decided to do it anyway, and it opened more doors for you pretty much at that point. So could you say that, I think it's going to be an obvious answer when I ask this question, but could you say that like being with them really helped define Ray Volpe and who you are in your musicality?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, because I was kind of still closed off in like a shell, and I didn't really express myself too much. And I wasn't myself on social media. I was still very much like, I'm very proud to announce this release EP, whatever. You know, there was no personality. I had a personality, and I fit in really well with that whole crew, and that being around them helped me break out of that. So being there helped me definitely define who I was.
I asked that because I feel like without them, I feel like here's the thing. I love it when people are like genuine as well, like how I'm being genuine with like how I show myself on social media. I love seeing it in other artists as well, because this is you, this is who you are, and it should be cherished and embraced every single time we see you. So it's like, yeah, I'm glad they brought you out of your shell and you're not shy anymore. You're not feel like you're like anxious to like be yourself. But dude, who you are, what I'm seeing in you, what I'm hearing in you is great. Keep being this way, because we all love it, and it's something that should be cherished. And I say this to anyone who feels like they don't want to really be themselves, because I've been there, Ray's been there, many of us have been there. But when you find that one thing that unlocks who we are inside, many more doors open for us. I mean, look at me. I mean, I was all alone listening to this type of music, listening to your music. But then I discovered Monster Cats. I discovered these certain artists and like this label. And I started being myself, like showing like my reactions to these songs, like listening to their weekly radio show. And then that kind of like brought more people to see me and who I am in that particular light, which I enjoy. It puts a smile on my face. It makes me so happy to like know that people are seeing the joy and positivity that I give out. So it may not be your time just yet, but know that there's something in you. There's a spark in you. I'm talking to people who are watching this. There's a spark in you. And know that there is a light. There is definitely a way for you to unlock that and finally be yourself. Find that niche, find that interest in you, and you can finally show people who you truly are. Do not be afraid of who you are, because that's just who you are. If it's gone, then you'll feel like an empty shell. I've been there. I'm so glad I finally found the light. So that's like my little speech to them. That was a little speech to them.
No, absolutely. That's great. That's very true.
And
absolutely.
So I get to this one question here, which I feel like I need to know badly. Who? Oh, please tell me who is the person, whether it's you or anyone else, who birthed the Volpetron sound in like the beginning or even like the ending of some of your remixes, because I need to know, because it's a staple. Everyone can scream it out loud. I hear it in every single song. Now, I think I started hearing it more in Our World and also the Reality EP. That's where I started hearing it more like frequently. Ever since then, I was hearing it more and more and more. Who birthed that? Who created that?
So there's two versions of it, and we've been in the second version since the Reality EP or so. It started off in 2014, maybe late 2014 or so, maybe early 2015, but I've had it since early 2014 or mid 2014. There's like a trap. They're formerly a duo out of, I think, Orlando, somewhere in Florida. Their name's Dank Sinatra, and they were friends of mine at the time. Not that we're not friends now, just haven't spoken. Just people drift off. Them and a rapper songwriter named Kai No Might. And Kai No Might I asked him, I was like, hey man, like, could you record me a couple random like pre-drop vocal tags, stuff like this, just like stuff I could use? He's like, yeah, for sure. So Dank Sinatra, they were all really close. So they went to the studio and they were recording recording Kai. And so Kai was doing some random ones like, hey, yo, Volpe, drop that bass, and like random stuff like that, like, yo, Volpe, blah, blah, blah. And then one of the guys from Dank Sinatra were like, yo, Kai, you should be like Volpetron 9000. And he's like, well, I'm not going to do that. Like, that's that's just like, that's corny or whatever. And he's like, no, just do it. So he recorded himself saying Volpetron 9000, just like as like a reference to like, I guess like Megatron and like all these other things, just robots in general. And just like, and added the number 9000 to it. And I was like, oh, he sent them over. And I was like, that one's sick. So I had started using it in a lot of my songs. You hear, I think the first song that I used it in, that I can remember at least, is my Grabbits remix of Get Your Body Down.
What?
Yeah.
What? No, hold on a second. That's like one of the first remixes I ever heard from you. And it was Grabbits. Are you kidding? That's where it began. Oh my God. Yeah. It was Grabbits. I freaked out because I am a huge fan of Grabbits.
Absolutely. That dude's a gem to the world.
Absolutely amazing. I've been loving him since 2015. And to know that that's where the remix of Get Your Body Down, that remix is where it began. Wow.
Yeah, I used it in that, and I think it was at the beginning, and I used that in the drop or something, and I was like, I'm gonna make this like a vocal tag, like a producer tag, because at this point in time, in terms of, I guess, like, I mean, I wasn't like relevant, but I'm saying in terms of relevant people that I looked up to, the only producer in bass that had a producer tag was Skrillex. It was just, my name is Skrillex. And so I was like, I want to bring that in, because like rap producers have it, DJ Mustard has it, and
DJ Khaled.
DJ Khaled, like every producer has, like, and now today, like Diamond Pistols has it, like everyone has it, like even Mello has it for his rap beats. He has Mello Made It Right. So like, I was like, all right, I need to do this in the bass world. So I used the Volpetron 9000 vocal. It was just Volpetron 9000. And then before Reality came out, it was like, I remember exactly what it was. Going into 2017, that New Year's, I found like I recorded myself with what those noisemakers that you have on New Year's, like I recorded myself blowing one, and I made a moon. I wish I still had the song, because it's like a 10-second clip of a drop, and it's just like that. It's just like that noisemaker going, and it was boomba, and it was like boom, go boom, go. And so I recorded that. I made that drop, and I recorded myself speaking over it, and I was just like, oh boy, it's Volpetron, and it's just pitched up, and it sounded so funny and stupid. And I, for some reason, really liked the way that it said Volpetron. So I was like, oh, let me use this. instead, shorten it from Volpetron 9000 to Volpetron. So I took that. So that's the current day version. It's just my voice. And that's what you hear in every song. And it's also why on the Ray Volpe jerseys, it's Volpetron 9K. So the 9K it's a reference to the original Volpetron sample saying 9000, a reference to Kai who made that. And then also a lot of jerseys are really like the numbers are always generic. It's like 2 zeros or it's like their birth year. Not generic.
It stands out with the 9K.
But it's just there's numbers. I wanted to let me add a fucking letter in there, like let's do something a little cool, a little fun. So yeah, that's where we're at. I've been thinking if I should maybe redo Volpetron again to get another version, but I don't know if we're there yet.
If you'd like me to be one of the first people to revamp that, I'd be more than happy to. I can prove I have done it before, because I had to ask that question because I did a little bit of the same thing for another artist named Nightpunk. If you listen to the Gentleman's Club Nice 99 remix he did, he took one of my videos, the Twitter videos, and he took one of the videos and I was just like shouting out the people who were like part of a remix album, Must Die, Crisis Division, and he was part of it. So I screamed, "Nightpunk!" He took it. Awesome. I have to hear it. Revamped it, and then in the intro, you'll hear me screaming "Nightpunk." So now he's saying he's going to be using that in his debut album, in all of his work. So I could not believe it. So I had it. So kind of from like one guy who did like the whole pre-bass drop vocal to someone that you had to ask that questions, because I was just curious, because I hear all the time it's a staple. It's almost like a trademark where it's like it wouldn't be a proper like song or remix if I hear Volpetron, it's like, okay, Ray Volpe made this. So that's basically what it means. That's what it defines.
I have to check out that Nightpunk thing later. I have to look up the song because that's really, really cool. And yet the Volpetron thing, it's become a huge staple, absolutely. And it makes me really happy that like it's like kind of like attached to a lot of people that listen, including you. I pulled this up real quick, so I want to bring this up. I actually got a DM a while ago that I thought this was hilarious because it makes no sense to me. Okay. Someone said, to be honest, the less that you mentioned Volpetron in your songs, the more I listen to them. You got major potential, but if I don't know whose song I'm listening to, then I must have never used the apps or music streams through with a shrug emoji. And it says, from a concerned potential fan. I had sent it to my manager because I thought it was hilarious because someone was basically saying, obviously it's your song because I'm listening to it on your social platform. I didn't realize that 1 second or less of a song had really hurt his experience listening to the music. I thought it was so funny. And I was like, this makes me want to add like 3 Volpetrons in each song. Just like, come on.
That was kind of ridiculous, although I kind of see his point of view there, where it's like maybe it's just better to like let the music speak for itself, and I can just like look up and see who made the song, or I can just Shazam and be like, who made this song? Oh, Ray Volpe. I gotta check him out now.
But I'm gonna keep it going for sure.
But yeah, but hey, it's your staple. It's you. It was hearing the birth of that pre-drop vocal. It's like kind of heartwarming. Yeah, it's silly, it's goofy, and that's kind of like what we love about you, Ray Volpe. It's kind of, yeah, you can get serious, but there's those moments in time where it's like it can get pretty silly. I mean, hello, perfect example is in the VIP of Battle of the Bros. So wait, is that it? No, hold on. There's no way he's gonna end the song right there and tell us who won. Are you fucking kidding me? That's bullshit. Okay. It was that type of silliness that like we really appreciate. And speaking of that, me mentioning Battle of the Bros, I need to know, just tell me straightforward, are we ever gonna get a winner? Just like be honest with me. Will the battle keep raging on and on and on? It's like, yeah, we had your Dubstep people, we had your rhythm people. Will the war just like keep going on? Or we had the original, we had the Battle of the Bros VIP. Will it be like a third one, like the Return of the King type trilogy?
To be determined.
Still to be determined. Okay, so we might have a few more sequels coming up. So get yourself ready. You never know. Thank you. Thank you for letting us know and keeping us in suspense. Bottom line, I had to ask that question. I was kind of scared to ask that because I know it's kind of a sensitive thing. Dubstep and Brittan. Although
people get too serious about it.
They get too serious about it. I'm the one who takes like casually. I had to act that because I was just asking out of curiosity, not trying to pour any rhythm fuel to the fire or any post-up fuel to the fire. I was just curious. Whatever comes of that trilogy, whatever comes of that journey, I'm loving it every single time. And of course, the announcer, the announcers of like both VIP and Battle of the Bros for the first one is absolutely amazing. It was so smart to make it kind of almost like a boxing ring match type of feel. And
absolutely. His name is Henry. His name is Henry Mason. He's a voiceover artist. He's very, very, very talented. I don't remember. I think so. I tweeted. I was like, "Hey, I need like a voiceover work done, like people that do like video game stuff, because I wanted it to be a boxing announcement. I wanted it to be specific. I wanted someone that does voiceover work." And I tweeted that out, and one of my fans was mutual friends with him. I was like, "Hey, this guy does great work, and he does work on some video games and some. I think he did like a English dub for an anime on Netflix recently and stuff like that. Very talented. And every time I need something, I like that, I hit him up. He's a super nice guy. And he was like, I sent him the idea and he loved it. And then he loved the final product. And he loved that. It was like, it turned out really sick. I sent him a couple ideas of like what I wanted in scripts and maybe like versions of me doing it. And then I had him do it in his, the announcer voice. And then for the VIP, I was like, hey, can you do like so what happened was when I made the VIP, originally I didn't know what the intro was going to be. I had just made one specifically for Banger Zone and for Couchlands, which is why he's like, lost or Couchlands, make some noise. And then like for like Banger Zone. And then I was approached by Vishal, who is one half of Bandles and also is label manager and does A&R stuff at the type of Roundtable. So he was like, hey, like, do you want to throw the VIP on the new Knights of the Roundtable comp? And I was like, oh, that's not a bad idea. Sure. I need to finish it. But since I was like, okay, it's Knights of the Roundtable, that like the Knights, like this is like the Roundtable is more like way more strict about the branding being like with that, like the armor and the Knights and stuff. So I was like, what if I like make the intro like that? So I hit up Henry and I was like, yo, can you do like a Renaissance, like accent, like think like medieval? And he's like, yeah, I could try. And he absolutely just nailed it. I just like wrote the script. Basically, I basically wrote a script and just gave it to him. And I was like, here's what I got. And he completely smashed it out of the park. And it turned out, and I guess like because they were going for the flow for the track list for it. So it was him and 12th Planet. They were like, all right, let's take a look. Or Vishal and 12th Planet. They were like, all right, let's see like what should come in this comp. And they're like, this is like the perfect opening. So it was able to be the first track on the comp, and it was really cool.
But it was also very fitting because if you look at the insignia for the type of Roundtable, it's literally a round table reference to King Arthur and all that stuff, and of course 7 swords. So it's like, dude, it makes sense to have that Renaissance type feel to it. So that was amazing, and of course Henry Mason, shout out to you and your incredible work. It's like it's him who kind of inspired me to like want to do that type of talk as well. I was so cool. Wow. I'm being very honest. I was really into voiceover work for like a very long time and like doing narration, stuff like that. But it was that kind of like revitalized my love for it. And that's, you can say without that Battle of the Bros stuff, like them doing that, it would have inspired me to want to do that little pre-vocal thing with Night Punk and say like, no, yeah, use that. You can use that. Just make sure you credit me and my voice. But dude, I was so close to be like recording a bit of something for me and sending it to you for Banger Zone volume 5 or volume 6. Because I was thinking to myself, I want to do the same thing and like have my voice onto it. I did it once with You Say Be Flow. I did it with Night Punk. So I thought, you know what, let me just ask him and try it out.
We definitely got to do something. I'm open to the idea. Well, I'm gonna figure something that will make sense and we can do it.
Thank you so much, because that's something I really want to do, and having that announcer voice is like something I love to do, because I always love to like be like to not really be like the star of the show, just like let's like hype everything up and like bring that type of energy to people, like make them like be ready for like what they're about to see. Like, because trust me, because if they for Webster Hall when it comes 2022. I have a feeling what we're about to witness is obviously going to be history in the making. It's of course because that's obviously how much I love you, how I feel about your music. It's gonna be like history in the making. That's just in my eyes. But dude, I cannot barely wait to know what you're gonna make next. Now, if you don't mind, I asked the internet for some questions to ask you because
Absolutely.
Oh man, we got quite a few. Here's one question I'm going to ask you from the Volpetron Discord themselves. Make sure you join the Discord because it's a pretty awesome Discord. This one comes from Grated Cheese. Chipotle. What's Ray's entire Chipotle order so we can have Ray Volpe celebrity meals?
Ooh, okay, for sure. So I get a Chipotle bowl with brown rice, and then I get steak. I don't do any beans. I do no beans. I will say on a very small occasion, I'll get beans. If I do get beans, it's black beans. I would say out of every 10 times, 0.5 of it. So it's like very rare. I'll get some beans, black beans. If that's the case. But on a normal day, brown rice, steak. Then I do mild salsa. I do sour cream, cheese, a little bit of lettuce. That's my bowl. That's the bowl right there. That's it. Now, they just launched brisket at Chipotle.
They do have brisket.
It's good. I enjoy it. I like it. But I think I'm going to stick with steak for the time being. Aside from that, if I'm feeling crazy, if I'm feeling like I want to have some fun, maybe I'll get some chips with some queso. If not, maybe on occasion, I'll get a Coke. Chipotle Coca-Cola, very good. Fountain Coke completely beats any bottled soda, bottled Coke out of the water. You have like McDonald's up there, top tier soda. Chipotle Coca-Cola, very good. But yeah, that's the bowl. That's the bowl. And
chips and queso if you're feeling crazy. So there you go, Grade Cheese. If you want to put that order in when you go to next Chipotle, let them know. Hey, if you ever come to NYC, there are 3 Chipotle bowls here. We can. Oh God, maybe a Chipotle bowl meetup.
I'd be down for a Chipotle meetup. I'm down for a Chipotle bowl meetup.
Okay, March 2022. Remember, we're gonna have this on YouTube, on social media. Remember that. Right? So rewind this back. Make sure you write the order down so that we can get it. I'll try out myself. I'm more of just a chips and case type of guy. I only get that.
You don't get like a bowl.
I don't get the bowls. I don't get the burritos because of like the whole controversy thing. But hey,
that's fair. Going just for chips and queso is pretty good.
Yeah, it is. That's the only thing I would get. And trust me, for me, it's like I love the large chips, and I get large chips and small queso because they do put some extra lime on there. If they don't, then I always have some lime in my house, so I just like make sure I have that ready and just squeeze it on there so I can have that extra kick. That's just how I roll with my Chipotle chips. Yeah, remember that. Please remember that whenever you come to NYC and get some Chipotle, or in Los Angeles, wherever. I bet they're nationwide. So next question up, Duality, the Olympics 19. He's a pretty awesome guy who does a lot of mashups and mixes and has been winner of the Monster Cat Mix contest, I think, for 2 years so far. So,
that's awesome.
So he's pretty much making.
The name is familiar.
Yeah, he's very familiar. He also has a little bit of work in Rushdown too with Silver Skies. So I was just checking him out. He's a pretty great producer too, but awesome mixer. Most well known for combining just This Is America with Crab Rape. That's his most watched.
I have heard that. Yeah,
that's his most watched video.
So
yeah, that's him. So here's your question. Here's his question to you. Is it a coincidence or artistic decision to produce the entire World Domination EP in the same key and beats per measure? Because each and every one, like Battle of the Bros, Endgame, World Domination, everything of it was all in 150 beats per minute. P.S. Loved it because I was able to do a lot of cool combos and mashups with the EP. Keep it up, LJ and Ray Volpe. Is that coincidence?
Thank you. Firstly, but also, it was a decision to make because the thing is, I'm constantly thinking about my sets, my live sets and my DJ sets. I'm thinking what am I going to play? I would say like 60-70% of my set, it's all in that one key of E flat or D sharp, however you want to consider it.
Was D minor. He literally has a whole spreadsheet.
That EP's E flat.
E flat, because he showed me a
D sharp. It could be sharp, D sharp minor as well, if you consider that. So maybe
I think I saw some minor. I think it was a D minor he wrote down. Maybe was he wrong? Duality, were you wrong? Oh no. Oh yeah. So wait.
Cancelled.
So yeah. Oh wait. Hold on a second. Yeah, here it is. 150, 150, 150. D sharp minor. It was a D sharp. It was D sharp minor.
Yeah, because you can call both D sharp and E flat. So yeah, it was a decision. I like playing out songs in that key, and yeah, it was just like, hey, I want to do it like this. It was just easier that way. I think almost all of Rise of the Volpetron is in the same. Revolution is in D. The rest of it is in E flat or D sharp, and then obviously World War Rave is slowed down BPM because it's house. But
I feel like that was the only Revolution was the only song that had like a different key change, because I feel like with the last stick, Race Against Time and World War Rave, I feel like if you want to put those like in a mashup, you could. It's pretty easier because it all sound like in the same key.
Yeah.
Each one was pretty much in the same key there. So, hey, Duality, you want to do some Rise of the Volpetron mashups? Try it with those 3 songs. I think it'll be a big hoot.
Yeah,
so this question here comes from my TRILLVO Discord, where I do my work in the label. This here comes from, let me see if I can find it, from Fabian Adame. Fabian Anime. Not Adame. Adame. I hope I'm saying it properly. What do you do to spark your creativity in music?
I like to try to do something like small all the time with producing. So like sometimes I go weeks or months without making anything, and I can go through blocks like everyone does. But when I am like kind of in the mood or whatever, I like to just constantly be doing small little elements of songs. So I'll like to make a chord progression, or I'll make a bass that I like, or I'll make like a bass, like a part of a drop, or I'll write a vocal, just little pieces of songs. You don't need to be like, all right, I'm gonna try to make a song today, or I'm going to try to, write an idea today. Literally just do anything. Just like try out like a little, like maybe you make a cool drum loop that you think sounds cool with like a sub. Maybe you make like a pattern or like a flow that you really like. It just little pieces and elements. Cause then, you do a bunch of those every couple days or whatever. And then like after a week, you look back and you're like, oh, I have all these things here that are random pieces. And it's like, oh, this sounds cool. This one sounds cool. Let's use these for something. So it's about like just making little elements here and there to try to kind of keep my creativity going. That and trying to be producing in like the best kind of headspace. I recently moved outside to my living room. I felt like I wasn't getting anything done in my bedroom anymore. So now I'm out here. I have a secondary setup here, which has been actually amazing for my workflow. So it's maybe a change of your space that you're in. Change of scenery, change of environment. Also not forcing it, taking breaks, playing video games, going on walks, taking showers. Because like all these are things that you do when your brain works in the background, especially walking and showering. Those are 2 things that like you're like thinking a lot while you do those 2. So it helps your brain kind of reset in the background. Those are ways I like to kind of help my creativity.
That is awesome. And also just to add a little tidbit to that, to anyone who's like working, whether it's like working on music, working on like work or like anything like schoolwork, it's always better to like do your work outside somewhere where it's like more productive. When you're working in your bedroom or working like anywhere else, like, really in your home, you have this like atmosphere, like this like feeling in your body where it's like, you just want to relax on your bed or like sleep anywhere else. It kind of like breaks down like your workflow. You have these people who always like like, I'm gonna get it done today, but they work in their bedroom and they work in their home and they get distracted. Yeah. They're on their phone. Stuff. It's like, no, I'll do it tomorrow. It just ruins the whole flow.
No, absolutely. That's why it's good to like have an office to go to, or if you have in your house, you have like an office room or like an area specifically for it. Like this being like out here in the living room, you can see behind me, like, oh, if I turn this way, this is like Jess has her set up over there. So like, it's kind of an office kind of environment. So it helps me kind of be a bit easier to like work. Whereas like in my bedroom, where I was always a bedroom producer for years, like, it's like my bed is right there. It's in a closed small room, stuffy, and it's like I don't feel like I'm like working or anything. So like, but like there's a lot of people that have office rooms in their apartments or houses, and then it's like, because then you can like leave right when you're done with your work and you like go back to like the rest. So I can just like go to the other side of the room and it's like, okay, that's like the living room, or I can go to my bedroom or wherever, and it's like doesn't feel like you're in like it's like, yeah, you don't want to mix those 2 things because you start to lose like the sense of like it, like you start to not want to work. Yeah. Cause you're
right.
Exactly. That's very, very true. That's a good point.
Right. And also one more thing before we shut down and head out. there's one thing I wanted to mention to you, which I feel like I was inspired when I saw you do the whole mashup of Savage and of course Sudden Death Behemoth. There is one little mashup you could try doing with Tell Me, which surprised me a bit. So it was this. So you combine two songs pretty much into one. So here's a song I think you combine with Tell Me. Try combining Tell Me with BlackPink, How You Like That. Because if you do that, because the reason why I say is because I have literally been listening to that song over and over again when I was into the Mixed Feelings EP. So that's one of my biggest favorites from the EP. And I tried singing it with the same feeling. It's like you put a 4x4 time signature like any normal pop song, and immediately when it was like flowing, I was like, BlackPink in your area, and then it flows like almost with it. So if you want like this,
all right, I'll give it a
shot. So literally, if you know a song how you like that, don't worry about the lyrics. It's like no, worry about how it flows.
I'm clear with it, yeah.
I'm not kidding. Just try it out.
That's a good idea. I'm gonna try it out. I do want to specify the Behemoth swing thing was made by Control Freak, by the way.
Control Freak. So Control Freak.
I think I just popularized it with the
right. So that was done by Control Freak. He's amazing too, coming to New York as well with Bainbridge. But again, Tell Me, combine it with How You Like That at BlackPink. If you do it, I can tell you how I did it in my mind. That could totally work, and you can use like all the elements of the song in that. I feel like it would totally work. Like for example, like if you like get to the first drop of it and it's just like dang, but immediately just think about, you know how the song was like like that, da 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 da. Now imagine adding that in there with the down, and the
okay, seriously, man.
Da. And then when it gets like the breakdown bit, they can add the whole like, look at you, now look at me. Look at you, now look at me. And imagine like adding that to it. Just like
that's good. I like that. That could work. I'm gonna try it out. I'll try it out.
I was just trying that out. I swear to God, this like if I can tell you how the blueprint is worked in my mind, and then you can try adding it in your way. But if you like it, I think it could be yet another banger that could be played live. I swear to God.
You have a lot of knowledge of like keys and time signatures and stuff. Do you produce, or do you want to produce?
I don't really produce. I'm just a guy who likes to listen to like different types of songs, or like listen like, okay, this kind of sounds like this. I think it kind of began when I like listen like, let's say when I listen to like Poor Robson Language and how it like was very similar to That Power by William and Justin Bieber, because again, another song, 4x4 time signature. I tried with that because maybe he was inspired by it, and I sang it with the first drop, and I was like, it's almost like he was inspired by that song because it's the same format, same time signature. I was like, wow, how about that?
That's cool. That's cool that you've like learned all the stuff like of like the back end of like the production stuff. It's really cool. Really cool.
So yeah, I kind of do. It's you could say maybe kind of like a little hidden musical talent of mine. I don't really see that much of it. I see it's kind of like, oh, this could work with this. Maybe someone else could mash it up together and like maybe take out like the normal melody of it and just put it with the vocals and like make sure you do it in the right way. And it's like almost kind of like building like a Lego sculpture, building each Lego brick one by one, making sure each one is perfect and it sounds just the way you want it to be. So that's just a little musical person in me, listen to music like that for over like 6-7 years. So it comes naturally to me. So yeah, thank you for noticing that.
Absolutely.
So again, Ray Volpe, I really, really appreciate you talking to me for this. And of course, oh my gosh, I forgot the most important thing. If we can do this quickly.
Absolutely.
How can you please, like, if you're able to, what are the smaller artists you know of that are actually doing amazing work? I always like, when I talk to certain artists, like people like you and everyone else, I always like to make sure I give some love to like the little guys out there. So do you know any little guys out there you're playing their music or like tour doing some incredible work you want to just shout out?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that list, it's like a situation where it's like I have to like, I'm pulling up my SoundCloud to like think of the names because there's a bunch on top of my head, but then I'm gonna go blank really fast.
Right.
Number one on the list is my best friend in the world. His name is Control Freak. He's like my little brother. Dude is the most talented kid I've ever met. I was very fortunate to become so close to him. I think that he's insanely talented. And I think he's got really, really, really bright future ahead of him. other people that are like up and comers and small that I think that are like really doing great work are people like Stroxu, who is another
Stroxu!
amazing Need Your Love remix that he did. I think is incredible. He's got a lot of really cool stuff coming up that's like rock infused, and it's really really cool. Triple, who like Triple.
Triple! No way, Triple! Wow.
And then like there's also well, one of these artists is actually pretty popular, but they started a project together. It's called Space Rangers, which is Sneak, who has been a producer for a while and works at Shred Collective. And then the other is actually Diamond Pistols, who does a lot of rap productions for like Rich Brian and Baby No Money. They started like a tech house project, and it's absolutely incredible. So they're absolutely smashing it. And then, you know, there's people like, you know, let's see, like there's Deadlift, there's I'm trying like looking through like my SoundCloud to like see who I'm listening to right now. Who am I playing out? This is see, I get so stuck on these things.
If you want to like have like, you can also look at the Banger Zone too.
Invaders, who's like absolutely.
Veer, you said Veer?
No, Veer is awesome. I said Invaders. Veer has
Invaders.
I love how Veer is like just weird with the flows, but like Invaders, who's doing really cool, like Nirvana, like punk-esque type, you know, fuse stuff. You have Deadlift trying to bring in all like the mainstream house stuff and going into some of his stuff, and then like Knock 2 and XO absolutely like smashing.
They are smashing it, man. Knock 2 and ISO.
They're like bringing like trap back to like modern shit again. And it's so cool. And house too, with Knock 2 specifically. There's so many awesome like examples. Like I can go on, but then I also like can't think of any off the top of my head. Niptane is another one of them. Like awesome. Like there's so many. I can't think of any.
There's just so many, but at least you're able to like shout at least a few of them. Like I know a lot of artists, like, you know, like there's so many like upcoming people in the scene who do some incredible work, and my time goes blank. But I'm glad you're able to like, at least remember a few of them, like Control Freak, Niptane, Fear, Nevardes, and everyone else you mentioned. I gotta make sure we look them up and like shout them out properly, because they are all absolutely amazing. And of course, adding kind of like, you know, flipping that over its head, are there any artists you want to hopefully collaborate in the future? We already got Marshmallow. We already got Adventure Club. Are there any others you're thinking that can work with your type of flavor of music?
People that I would like to work with. I would like to work. So like, so we have the Adventure Club and we have Mellow. I'm very happy. I've got Nightmare as well, which is really that was
Nightmare. Nice.
I don't know. People I want to work with, probably like Space Laces or Zomboy. Like of course the answer for everyone is Skrillex, that I would love to work with. I want to get a track going with Virtual Riot, and you know, now that I'm on Disciple, hopefully we can maybe get something going on that. That'd be really cool,
dude. That'd be amazing.
But too. I think I want to make songs with people that like you wouldn't also expect too, like which I have a couple lined up that I can't talk about yet that are like names that you'd be like interesting combinations that I'm excited about.
But I feel like someone I think we won't expect. I'm thinking like maybe like, what about Slander? I feel like cool. I feel like
nothing's happened yet, but that would be cool. I'd be down.
I feel like it would be possible because you already were tampering in like melodic stuff as well, like in some of your songs. It'd be great to like have someone like them who kind of mastered it, either Slander, Seven Lions, who kind of mastered that feeling, and they can actually bring that flavor to your music as well.
I think that the three top names I want to work with next would be Excision, Millennium, and Seven Lions. I want to work with those three.
Well, here's the thing. Excision and Millennium, you already have your foot in the door with the remixes. So I feel like that's
they're both very, very supportive of my music, and they're both very, very, very
right. So I feel like
Seven Lions been playing out Battle of the Bros a lot lately as well.
Oh yeah, right. Oh wait, I remember when I freaked out one time when I was listening to Seven Lions, like his sets, and I saw him play. I heard him play Turbo Kid. I think either Turbo Kid or was it Insane when it was Never Say Die. I could not. No, I'm not kidding. He played out that song. I freaked out when I said like, oh my gosh, Seven Lions is playing him. I could not believe it because like, oh my gosh, so Seven Lions knows Ray Volpe. Imagine that. Imagine if I feel like the day I see Ray Volpe with 7 lines in something Ophelia based would be insane.
Would
Oh
be
my
pretty cool.
God. I mean, hello, they had their recent 100 release, so 100 release, so Ophelia is just growing and growing and growing in their base. So, seriously, dude, the sky is the limit for you and the work that you're putting out. It has been an absolute honor, pleasure, and privilege to finally have a chance to speak with you. And of course, shout out to Jess Peeps, your partner, absolutely amazing. Shout out to Pat Ward. I know he was like, the most recent manager. Shout out Clint and Sybil. I keep saying it wrong. I am so sorry. But dude, to like everyone who like really helped you out on your journey, Dirt Monkey, Jansen, GTA, Gether, Wally, Zomboy, Excision, Millennium, and for so many people who are finally noticing the beauty, the work that's coming out of Ray Volpe, we thank you all so freaking much. And dude, words not express my absolute love and support for you and the work that you're putting out. It's absolutely freaking incredible. And dude, it's only growing from there with stuff like Ray with Marshmallow and Adventure Club. There's no signs of stopping. I know it's been almost 10 years, but I feel like it's still just the beginning. We're only really beginning to really know and understand the rise that is Volpetron, man. So, oh my God.
Thank you so much. I think that really means a lot. I think I definitely, there's a lot of those people I have a lot of thanks to. Maybe not Clint specifically, just off of how things kind of ended there, but
right.
The rest of those guys, absolutely. A lot. I owe a lot to those producers, and especially right now in my life, you have like Jess and Pat, who are like, without them, and like my agents as well, I've meant absolutely just helping me every single day, and I appreciate the hell out of them. And I appreciate you. I'm happy I was able to come here and do this, man. Like, I think that you're like one of the coolest people out there in the community. I think you're hilarious. I think you're really cool. I'm funny, and I really appreciate that you're just like being yourself and you're going for it, and you don't care how like over the top that your videos are, and you're literally just jumping right in head first, and I love it. I love, personally, my favorite one recently is when Wooly announced his tour, and at the end he said come for his tusks if he didn't go to New York. I thought that was
yes.
I couldn't stop laughing.
Because seriously, I was speaking. I didn't see like all the names for it, but I did not see New York City. So I said to myself, because all those people you see on the tour, of course, Wooly, but of course, Calcium, Trivecta, Ace Aura, G-Qui, and Sultan, and so many other amazing artists that they brought on there, who are all amazing people in the scene. We heard their work; they're doing incredible work. Ace Aura was also at Lost Lands too, so. To not have them at least stop at NYC, at least around my area, I was gonna be upset. I was going to be angry if it did not come around my area. I did see they were going to Rochester. I mean, hey, it's in New York, so maybe I can make it if it wasn't 8 hours away from where I am.
That's a far drive. That's a far drive.
Thanks, Wooly. Ugh. But dude, hey, he did say he's gonna make me, announce his tour. So maybe I'll make something up for it there. Maybe he'll pay me in that. I'll take it because he is amazing. I've been loving his work for years. So to have that happen would be also incredible too. And if you need someone like me to announce any of your tours, if it's coming up sooner or later, you know who to call. Bottom line, absolutely. Ray Volpe, thank you so much for all the work that you're making, and to mostly everyone who's supporting your journey, I shout out them as well. I got to support the whole people and everyone who really helped you out to be the amazing man that you are right here and now. DivMac, Thrive Music, Subsidia, Never Say Die, to all those labels who helped you out. Thank you so much. Thank you, Excision. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Millennium. Thank you, everybody, man.
And Disciple. Now that
and Disciple. I'm so sorry, Disciple. Please don't hate me, Disciple.
No, best for last.
But dude, thank you so much, Volpe. We really, really apprate you.
Thank you.
And to everyone who watched the interview here all the way to the end, thank you so much. We really appreciate you. Keep it real, keep it trill. Thank you so much, Ray Volpe.
Absolutely. Thank you. Have a good day, Lenval.
You too. And you too.